Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. The world is watching Kamala Harris's nomination for Vice President with huge interest. And here in this home in Delhi, India's capital, there is a proud uncle. We are about to talk to Dr. Balachandran, an independent analyst who's Kamala Harris's mother's younger brother. It is a pleasure talking to you. Kamala Harris, of course, is biracial. She has Jamaican and Indian roots. Her mother was from Tamil Nadu till she left for the United States of America. First reactions as a proud uncle.
Look, one reaction was good. It was time that Biden announced it, because I expected that he would choose her. About 75% I was sure that she would be the candidate. So it was not a great surprise, but I was not sure when he was going to do it, whether the day before the convention or what it is. So that was a surprise. But the nomination itself was not a very great surprise.
You were expecting it?
Yeah, expecting it. I thought it about 75% sure she would get it. Not 100%, but 75%.
When it finally happened, what was the first thing you thought?
First thing is that that's over now. The next thing is there's going to be what are the names that Trump is going to call her. Okay? And he has already said.
That's funny.
He said nasty Kamala. And what was the other thing called? I don't know. I forgot it. He has been calling a whole lot of stuff.
When he calls her names, does it anger you as an uncle or does it just amuse you because Trump being Trump?
It being amused me because she will get back to him.
Yeah.
You see, I was telling everybody one thing about Kamala, and which I tell them that Shyamala has told her, is don't take panka lying down. If somebody tells you something, give it back to them. Don't sit down. So she is going to give it back. Two, she is very quick on her feet.
Yeah.
I remember during the second debate or something like that, Biden said something and she said something very quick. She's very quick on her feet. So it's not as if that, sometimes you know of a repartee, but it comes to you 2 hours later. Then he said, I wish I had said that.
Yeah.
She's not like that.
So she's going to give Trump as good as she gets.
Oh, yeah, she will give it as she gets.
Can you share your sister's influence on her life? Because she, your sister was younger. She left also at a very young age for the United States.
Look, if somebody had asked me, say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, was Shyamala very big, great? I say, what did she do great? Okay. But yesterday somebody said Kamala is a trailblazer. I said she was not a trailblazer. Her mother was a bigger trailblazer. Because she left 1959 or 1958, I forgot, when she was 19 years old, having finished her BA at Lady Irwin College on home science.
Yes.
Going for a master's and PhD in biochemistry at the University of California. She did this by applying herself. My father didn't know anything about it. Applied for admission, applied for fellowship and everything, and then she told my father. That way, where did you go?
There are that's of course the sound of an aeroplane going over our heads. But
so
yeah.
That way she was very, very strong. And she did it when there was no other few. 19-year-old Indian single women didn't go and live in a country where they didn't know anybody.
And your father only agreed, I read, to support her for the first year.
Yeah, look, my father was at the time not even I don't think he was even a deputy secretary. He was probably section officer, okay? He said, look, I don't have money. But I said, you can go for 1 year, I'll pay. Second year, you have to work on your own. She did it. That's what he told me also. When I went to England, he said, Bala, I'll pay you for 1 year. After that, you're on your own.
Yeah.
So he was very good with that. But the interesting thing was not that she went for a PhD at a very young age. That's good. Not many people did. But she plunged into Berkeley campus politics. For those who know US politics, Berkeley was the most radical campus in 1960s. The free speech movement had just started. And for a single Indian girl to enter into campus politics, not only campus politics not involving India or South Asia, but civil rights, I am quite surprised. Now, looking back, I think she did something which At that time, no Indians ever took part in student movements in states, okay?
So clearly, she was influenced by liberal politics, and Kamala Harris had a liberal parents who will also influence her politics. You have spoken about how Kamala Harris will privilege her sense of justice and her sense of right and wrong and her sense of human rights ahead of any roots in India.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that, because this has come up in the past? She has spoken on Jammu and Kashmir, 370 and so on.
No, it was not so much as Shyamala telling her, you are a doctor, you are a lawyer, so what?
Yeah.
There are thousands of lawyers, thousands of doctors.
Yes.
What are you doing with your degree or legal degree or medical degree? Not for your profit or somebody else's profit, for the social good. 2, if you want to do something, don't sit around saying, why is this happening? Do something about it.
Yeah.
That's why when she became a lawyer, she became a public prosecutor than somebody who went for a law in a private practice. That's what her daughter also did.
Yes.
3, it's not so much because she has spoken, I think, on CAA, okay? It was because Shyamala was doing with the civil rights movement and they were living in Oakland. Oakland is really an Afro-American community at that time, even more than today.
Yeah.
So she went to an Afro-American school. Her neighbors are Afro-Americans, her friends are Afro-Americans, everything. So she became naturally very much thinking that part of that community. The only thing was Shyamala is also a very great classical singer. She won the President's Gold Medal for Carnatic music.
For Carnatic music,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah.
So in San Francisco, there's a Hindu temple. So for that program, they need to have Carnatic music. Shyamala used to go and she used to take Kamala and Maya. So they had this sort of ambivalence. So when she used to come to India while she was studying, she would bring a lot of jazz, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, all those things. And then, like I told somebody, she'll bring book called Popper. You know, he wrote, I forgot the name of the title of the book. It's a very famous book. You know, he was a Marxist who turned radical. So he used to read all those things. She used to do that. So she got influenced by that, and that's where she met Don Harris, who is a Jamaican who was also involved in that.
That's right. But can I ask you how this liberal politics you see percolating down to Kamala Harris? We have seen in the past she has spoken, on the 370 issue, on Jammu and Kashmir, when a congresswoman, when our Dr. Jaishankar refused to meet with Pramila Jayapal, Kamala Harris went on record to say that was wrong.
Yeah.
How do you see her views on India, on Jammu and Kashmir, on things like the citizenship legislation?
No, look, I'll tell you one thing. It is not that where she feels that something is fundamentally against what she considers to be a normal violation of, I wouldn't call it although because it's nothing bare words, either international humanitarian laws or any other law which govern the interaction between human beings, which should not be decided by anything other than two human beings. And that's what she has lived through that. So whether it happens in India, somebody might have a difference of opinion what she said about other countries, but she did make something. And there may be, you see, I have my own views on many things, but I have not had major difference of opinion on any issue with her. There are some issues where I might little bit say, why did you say that?
But no fundamental
No fundamental. That's what I'm saying. The values are her that the relationship between human beings should be governed only by the fact that they are human beings.
How much of her India is in her?
It's quite a lot. You see, what is India? In fact, somebody was asking me. I said, look, I spent 18 years abroad studying. When I go to IDSA, somebody says, you know that fellow, he's this, Kurmi or Kurma or whatever it is, Kukri, I don't know, all those subcastes. I said, what is that? I said, bloody hell, I don't even know the difference between IR. Somebody says this fellow, his name is X. I said, so where are you from? I wouldn't be able to recognize whether IR or Anger.
Yeah.
So my 18 years, I'm finding sometimes, it's like you take a jungle animal, cub, bring it in a zoo and then put it in the wild, it says, who is this animal, who is that animal?
Right.
It's like that. So it's nothing to do with. So she doesn't go to the very finer details, but she says, I read it, I studied it, and fundamentally it looks to me that there is a basis to express concern.
But do you see your sister in her?
Oh, yeah.
What's the most common similarity between your sister and Kamala Harris?
Oh, the similarity is when you see something, do something. Don't sit around saying, why are they doing it? Two, do what you can do in where you are. If you feel that the position or where you are is limiting what you can do, then try to go to a place where you can do it. That's why she started as a district attorney in San Francisco. Like I tell everybody, I was there at the time when she was campaigning, okay? I had gone to visit Shyamala. She said, I'm against death penalty. There was a case of a fellow who had shot a cop. She said, I'll get his conviction, but I'll not ask for death penalty. The whole police union in San Francisco and California said, we will not endorse you. And at that time, we are talking about 15 years ago, when it was the most powerful union.
Yes.
She said, I don't care. She won the election. But when she ran for re-election, the same union supported her. So like I tell people, she has got views, strong views, but she doesn't say, look, I'll try to convince you of the logic of it. So she convinced the police union. Next time she ran, they supported her. That is Shyamala's also. Shyamala, the cancer researcher she had to do because, there are varieties of treatments and things like that. So you choose between alternatives. So Shyamala said, take all the evidence, do everything, and then try to convince the others. So that's the first thing.
Tell us something about Kamala Harris that is not commonly known.
I don't know. Look, that I wish.
Like a funny story or something people don't know.
No. The only common thing is, you see what it is. Look, it's a simple thing. Like I was telling you yesterday, when Shyamala, I had spent 3 months with Shyamala. I think it was in 2009. I returned home somewhere in August, I forgot. After spending 3 months, Shyamala and I used to walk around that Oakland area and talk and sit. 2 days after I returned, I got a call from Kamala. Say, Uncle Balu, please come immediately. Shyamala wants to meet you. I said, I came back only 2 days ago. She says, no, Amma wants to meet you. So I said, okay. My wife also said, look, I go there. Shyamala was going to come to India to stay permanently because my sister is a doctor. She said, I feel comfortable. I go there, I spend half an hour. I had to catch the evening flight. So I reached her place at 12:30. She was getting ready to travel next day. I said, I have to catch the evening flight. I said, bloody hell, how do I go to the airport? At that time, she was the district attorney. She said, Uncle Balu, that's your least of your problem. I'll send you my police detail with you. Please understand, Oakland, I crossed the San Francisco Bay Bridge with sirens blaring, with the whole traffic. It was evening. The traffic was on the right side of the road. And I was going in a single car, in a police car with an escort all the way to the airport. Similarly, whenever I go there, she used to say, what do you want? I said, I don't want anything. BlackBerry. I said, bloody hell, you buy me a BlackBerry, the monthly subscription will be more than my salary. No, you have to get something. So last 2 years ago, when I went, for some reason I was walking, I stumbled. Then Kamala, Maya and my daughter got worried. They said, you had a heart attack. Was it a brain sudden attack that you fell down? You shouldn't travel to India. I said, look, I can't go medical here. They said, no, you have to see a neurologist. She said, if that is your problem, don't worry. So she arranged for me a neurologist to see at a 1 day's notice in Washington. I came back, it was nothing. But the point was that all this time, whenever she says something, and I don't know why, whether it was because of the fact that I saw. Incidentally, I saw Shyamala. She said, Bala, I'm so happy you are here. And she was leaving next morning. I said, I'm leaving today evening because I was supposed to fly with her, but they had arranged a special plane for her. So I said, I can't fly that way. I stayed in Singapore. I go back home. I go to my home and tell my mother. She said, Bala, sit down. Then she says, Bala, Shyamala died after you left. Now, I don't know, somebody said, why did you go and see her? But she said, Bala, I'm so happy to see you. She passed away. So Kamala brings her ashes all the way from San Francisco to Tamil Nadu. So we went to the Elliott's Beach, and in the Bay of Bengal, immersed her ashes. So for family is her main thing, and she does all sort of things.
That's a very moving story. Finally, sir, you could not contribute to her campaign as Indians, and she forbade you from doing so.
Oh yeah, she said no.
Why was that?
No, because she said people will say foreign contribution, foreigners are meddling in US election. You know, that's a major story these days. She said, I don't want it. That's why I don't even send her a social mail. See, because somebody may said, Kamala's uncle, who studies US in India, is sending her messages, so the Indians are trying to influence. I said, why bother? She knows what I am, who I am, so I need not send her message. So she said, don't send any money. Both my sister and I, she completely forbid us from sending anything, contribution.
So should Donald Trump beware?
Oh yeah, he should be. But Donald Trump, not only of Kamala, he should be beware of Donald Trump itself. Okay? It has nothing to do with Kamala, okay?
But are you hoping to go if she wins makes it? Are you hoping to go and be there in person?
Look, I went for the 2017 swearing in. When she was sworn in as senator, she invited all her family. So myself, my sister from Chennai, my sister from Toronto, my wife from Mexico, and all of us, she made pass for us in the Senate. Then she introduced us to Biden because he is the head of the Senate at that time. So he was the one who swore in new members. She introduced all of us to Vice President Biden, saying, this is my uncle, this is my aunt. So hopefully by then in January, if the travel restrictions hopefully are down, this time I will go for the next swearing in also.
Well, I think a lot of people, especially women and women of color, are rooting for her.
I'll tell you, although there's not much of a news, in our family, one thing somebody said, what message you got for Kamala? In our family, the women have been the strongest. The men have been the weakest.
Well, that's an honest admission. Thank you, Dr. Balachandran. Kamala Harris's uncle here in this house in Delhi saying that if the travel restrictions lift, he has all plans of attending what he believes will be a victory, the swearing in January of Kamala Harris as vice president and someone who could then become the woman who runs for the White House 4 years from now. This part of Kamala Harris's roots is something that the world will now begin to uncover as intense focus is brought upon a black-brown woman running for vice president.